Three times Omkara. Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Satchidananda Rupaya Vishvotpatyadihetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Harihi Om. Suswagatam. We all are studying a text, Amritabindu Upanishad. Study of Upanishad is very direct. Study of Upanishad is very direct because it does not talk of preparation of a seeker and preparation of the mind for the experience of the Supreme. Upanishads only give few indications and then keep telling about the truth. So let us chant the Mangalacharana prayer of Amritabindu Upanishad. Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashe Makshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangai Stushtvagam Sastanubhi Veshema Devagitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indra Vriddhashavaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti nastaksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatiradadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Today, the message of Upanishad is one which directly telling about the Swaswarupa of Atma. So we'll first chant few verses and connect our today's topic to the verses we have done in the previous sessions. Verse number 4, 5, 6, 7. 4 verses we are going to chant. Nirasta Vishaya Sangam Sanniruddham Manorudhi Yada Yatyatmano Bhavam Tada Tatparamam Padam Yavadeva Nirodhavyam Yavad Rudigatam Kshayam Tavadevad nirodhavyam yavad rudigatam kshayam etadjnanam cha dhyanam cha shesho nyayasta vistaraha naiva chintyam na cha chintyam na chintyam chintyameva tat pakshapata vinirmuktam brahma sampadyate tada svarena sandhayet yogam aswaram bhavayet param asvarena anubhavena bhavo va abhava ishyate. Now in the verse number 5, it is mentioned Tavadeva, so long, Nirodhavyam, mind should be under well controlled. Yavad, till then what? Yavat, till Rudi Gatam Kshayam. A mind should be under well controlled. Till then, this mind, now this point is extremely important. This mind get completely dissolved in the spiritual heart. A seeker continuously should remember this. Till then, the control is extremely important. Now, these two important aspects we must know and we must strive to do it in our life. The first point is controlling our mind. So ask the question, can mind be controlled on its own, or there is some other factor?
Yes.
So the answer is, mind itself cannot be controlled on its own unless and until you control all your sense organs. Hope it is clear. Sense organ to be controlled. Now, sense organ to be controlled, how can we control the sense organ? Why is it so? So it is said in Upanishad, Paranchikani vyatrunat swayambhu parang pashyati na antaratman kaschid dhira pratyagatmanamakshat avrutta chakshu amrutattvamichan. Now here, a seeker should pay attention. Naturally, the tendency of all our sense organ is of extroverted in nature. It's natural. Now, one who is very much determined for what? To get the experience of the self. Kaschid dhira pratyagatmanam aikshat. One whose intense desire is there to merge with the self. Then that person alone can turn all the senses towards the mind and mind towards the self. This is a point. So unless and until a seeker has an intense desire, the control does not remain complete or so-called as to the level it is required. What I wanted to say, the control does not remain forever. Because the mind and the intellect is not having one and one goal. Mind is running towards object and intellect would like to meditate. Now this does not actually work. Example, a child who wants to play and mother and father wants that child to study. We all have seen the scene, situation. The mother and father are forcing that child to study. Sit here. But that child's mind is continuously brooding over the game, sport. Now, is it possible for that child to study? No. Similarly, a seeker has to understand, if the mind is going through the sense organ to the world of objects and intellect is trying to control and meditate, it does not happen. It doesn't happen. So I made it very clear that if somebody has a doubt that why meditation is not happening or why I am not reaching to the state of meditation, this is the reason. So having said this, next line, Upanishad says, now one who has understood this, etad jnanam cha dhyanam. So one whose mind is merged in the self, then the job is done. The job is done. Again, I'll take this example. When the child knows, now it is important to study, so I should give up this thought of going out and playing any game or going to the grounds of the sports. This thought is given up. There is no desire of going out and playing with his friends or enjoying the sport. This desire is not there. Then what happens? Then the mind merges with the study. You see, this is how one has to understand that then only the mind merges, mind remains there, and then it does what intellect wants. So it is said now in the 7th verse, how to practice meditation that we have seen yesterday. Let us just recap. The first step of meditation is with support. And the support is not as something like an object which is gross. The support is also subtle, but it has a form and it has a nice sound. So it has a name and a form also. So having taken that support, one should practice one's own meditation. Till then, one is very comfortable with this practice of focusing in between the two chants of Omkar. And then increase the time duration of chants of two Omkar. And then only and only meditate the next step on that complete silence. Complete silence. And then one who gets mastery over meditating on the silence, then what is said here? That which was non-existing, what was not existing? A truth. So we were considering only object as a truth, as a real. But when we understand underlying it there is a substratum. That substratum is a real truth. That substratum is the reality. Then looking at that reality, understanding that reality, then the whole universe appears as an extension of the same universal power, universal truth. And then what is the experience of that person? Verse number 8. Please repeat. Tadeva nishkalam brahma. Tadeva nishkalam brahma. Nirvikalpam niranjanam. Nirvikalpam niranjanam. Tad brahmahamiti jnatva. Tad brahmahamiti jnatva. Brahma sampadyate dhruvam. Brahma sampadyate dhruvam. Let us take up again one point. Here it is, Tad Brahma aham iti jnatva. Now here it is beautifully said, that Brahma, when this seeker of the truth realizes to be me, myself, then what happens? This seeker attains the eternal. This is the bottom line. Again, let us focus. A seeker, when understands that reality to be me, that Brahma aham iti jnatva. Now, jnatva, we are going to explain it very elaborately, but let us first focus on this. Experience of meditation is that reality, that supreme awareness, that supreme truth is none other than me, myself. Okay. So such person attains eternal. Then how is that Brahma? How is that self? How is that truth? Then it says, Tadeva nishkalam. That truth is nishkalam, is without part, is partless. Nirvikalpam, free of all the differences. Niranjanam, taintless, spotless. So this is now a direct experience of a realized person. So let us take up one point. The Brahma, this Brahma is that truth. Here that Brahma which is said, this word Brahma is the truth. That itself is a supreme reality. That is the supreme goal of all the seekers. So it is clear. Supreme goal is the truth. That truth is the reality. And that reality, the supreme truth, is Brahma. And that Brahma is me. That Brahma is me. So a seeker will understand now, in the path of spiritual upliftment, evolvement, a seeker is understanding, I have a goal which is that goal, which is other than me today. What is that? Today I am limited being, and my goal is to experience that unlimitedness. This is the goal. So by a right practice, now comes here jnatva. Now comes here a very important aspect, jnatva. Having understood. Now having understood this point to be more correctly seen or should be explained more correctly. How to understand this? See, there are three levels of understanding. A first level of understanding is information. We all have information about n number of things in the world. And Google is another source of information for all of us. Now, a doctor came 2 days before and expressed, Swamiji, do you know, nowadays everyone is a doctor. Because a patient comes and says, see doctor, I have this symptom and I could find out from the Google, this is a medicine. Now, is it fine? Should I take that medicine? Now, this person has already asked that this is a medicine, this is a problem. Why should you go to the doctor then? Okay. So this is how this information is so much widely spread all over. But it is only information, and that person is not a doctor. Okay. So this is called as information level. Now there is called as compounder. A compounder, an assistant of a doctor. He is much better than this Google fellow. Why? Because he has some experience. He is always with the doctor and he is now seeing and knowing how doctor treats. But he is also half-baked doctor. And this is called a second level of understanding. And you and me know that there are n number of compounders. Those who have done a good sort of service with doctor for 5-10 years and then left that service and gone to a remote place and put up the board, doctor so and so, and started the medical practice. It's a fact. Okay. So this is called as second level of the understanding. Now the third level of understanding is a person should have a first qualification. What is a qualification? If you do not have this much marks in your whatever exam or whatever your prelim exams and so called as the exams conducted for different fields, if you do not have this percentile, then you are not fit to get admission in medicine. Okay. Having now got the admission, then 5 years one has to struggle hard and clear all the exams above 50% mark. Okay. Now cleared the final exam of medicine, but complete 1 year, again that person has to be an intern and get the practice by working under the supervision of senior doctors. And then he is qualified as a doctor. Now understand, this I explained to know Jnatva. This is what I explained to make one's understanding absolutely clear, that so much of efforts a seeker has to take up, and not just, informative knowledge and just feel happy that okay, I am Brahma now. Oh my dear, do you know what Brahma means? Yes, what is Brahma? That Brahma which is called a supreme reality, that is Brahma. So again we'll take up one point. Here, to know the Brahma, a person has to transcend all these levels. What are they? Now we have 3 bodies with us: gross body, subtle body, and the causal body. And all of these bodies have limitations. So one who crosses all the limitations and do not get caught up in any limitation, that person can get the experience of this truth. So just imagine To cross over this body, one has to reach to this level of absolute no likes and dislike. No like and dislike. Then only your action will be according to the knowledge. Then towards the mind, then the mind level, the mind, what is required? Absolute one who can give up the attachment with all the sense objects. Nirasta Vishaya Sangha. Samasta. That means total detachment to all the sense objects. That is the requirement on the mind level. What is the requirement on the intellectual level? One and one pointed attention towards the reality and nothing else. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kuru nandana bahushakhayanantascha buddhayo avyavasayinam. One whose intellect has more than one or two goals. That is called as avyavasayatmika buddhi. Bhagavan says in the second chapter to the Arjuna. So what is vyavasayatmika buddhi? The one pointed intellect, one and one goal in life. And such person can transcend this body, mind and intellect. And then gets that experience of Brahma, which is partless. Now, why it is partless? Because it is one without the second. It is not like an object. Object starts here and ends here. And therefore, it has a parts also. So like if this is a mobile, it has a button, it has a battery, it has all chip and whatnot. These are all parts of this mobile. Such parts are not there in this Brahma, the supreme truth. Then nirvikalpam, free of all the differences. For the difference, there should be something else to be present. Because the comparison only will happen when there are two. The comparison cannot happen if there is only one and one. Think about it. So it is free of any differences. Niranjanam, it is spotless, it is taintless. How is it so? Because the taint is possible when there is something called as quality. So quality is measured in terms of levels, different levels. So what is called as a very poor quality, then a mediocre quality, then good quality, then better quality and the best quality. Now just imagine, this is all because of the gunas which it has. So such quality is not there in the supreme truth, and therefore there cannot be a taint, there cannot be any sort of impurity in it. Impurity in this body, mind and intellect is one and one alone. Swamiji, what is that? Ignorance of the true self. That is the impurity. And ignorance of the true self means one who has not realized one's own self. Even though that person has gained the scriptural knowledge, but yet not reached to the final stage of the experience, then that impurity is still there. So therefore, one has to understand this impurity is connected to this bodies and not to the self at all, because the self is absolutely a witness. A self absolutely is not connected to anything. Why? Because the self is one without the second. From the absolute standpoint, there is nothing other than the self. So when there is nothing other than the self, then what remains is one and one reality. So take one example to understand it more better is,
okay, bye. Good morning.
this
Good morning.
space.
Good morning.
How is this
Good
space?
morning.
Partless.
Good morning. Good morning.
When we
Good morning.
understand the part of the space called
Good
as
morning.
a whole space, it is
Good morning,
because of
sir.
the
Good
conditioning.
morning. And good morning, man. Good
But
morning.
space as such is
Good morning.
absolutely unconditional.
Good.
So this is one. Is there any difference between this space called as the space in Delhi and the space in Mumbai and the space in Chennai and space in Calcutta? Is there any difference? Swamiji, may not have a difference in India, but space in India and space in London, space in India and space in America, are they also same? Oh my dear. Space is space and it has no difference here or anywhere in the whole universe. So therefore, it is also a close example of nirvikalpam. Then tentless. So Bhagavan says in this whole beautiful Bhagavad Gita to explain to Arjuna how is the self? That self to which no one can burn, no one can make it dry, no one can make it wet, and so on. Similarly, the close example of it is the space. The space, even if there is a great fire in the space doesn't get burnt. And we all know there is a war going on, Ukraine and Russia and whatnot, bombarding happening. But the space is untouched with all these big fires because of the bombarding. It has no difference of anything. It is not tainted just because the war is going on. Similarly, that self is without the parts. That self, the truth, is without any differences. That self, the truth, is taintless. That truth, aham asmi, that reality, I am.
Yes, sir.
One who realizes attains the eternal. So let us try and give our best to this practice of meditation. For that, one has to take a firm posture. See to it that your back is straight, neck is straight. You can remove your spectacles. Gently close your eyes. Check your facial muscles. Let them be relaxed. Give command to your body. Next 5 to 10 minutes, no movement at all. Let us pay attention for a minute on our own breathing process. Let us chant Omkara and keep a good space in between the two chants. Om. Focus on this silence. This silence is not because of anything. This silence is the nature of the self. This silence is the truth itself. This silence is my own nature. This silence is the supreme truth, the Brahma. Ooh. This Om is also the sign of that supreme truth. The silence which is there now is all pervading. This silence does not have a parts at all. It is partless. This silence is free of any difference. This silence doesn't have any spot. It is spotless. It is subtler than the subtlest. So nothing can touch it. Nothing can make it impure. Because it's the knowledge that which is supreme in nature. This truth that I am, Aham Brahmasmi. I am that infinite truth. There is no finiteness in me. The word finite doesn't exist in this supreme reality, the truth. Om Shanti. 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 You can bring your hands in Namaskar position. Have gratitude towards the Almighty Lord. Have gratitude towards everyone around us. Pray for everyone. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah. Sarve Santu Niramayah. You can rub your hands together. Put them on your eyes. Give a good massage to your both eyes. Bring them back to the Namaskar position. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om.